So I'm just back watching the hobby nest, and finally I've seen chicks. So they have hatched. I was coming back for weeks on end, and it just looked like the parent was resting on the eggs, or the hatched chicks, and was keeping them warm because of the cooler weather maybe, I don't know. But I came along and there was a hobby sat out on the branch right out in the open. Lovely. Took some photos and some shaky footage because I didn't have my tripod. I didn't bother. I thought I'd just come in because it was getting exhausting, keep coming back and not seeing anything, carrying all the equipment, not needing it. So from now on, while I watch them and record them, I'll bring my tripod and I can leave the camera pointed and I keep the camera pointed at them, and when something happens, press record and then edit it all together. One of the place's many black caps. I got one of the parents arrive back at the nest and get on top, and I've seen 2 chicks now. So 2 chicks so far. Could be me, could be more, could be 3. It's gone on and settled on one, and then must have gone on the other one as well to keep them warm. It's going to be 26 today, 27, maybe 29, 30 tomorrow. So nice and warm. I don't know if they like that weather, but parents still keeping them warm anyway. But what a touch of finally making some progress. My back is breaking standing here looking up, but it's all going to be worth it once I put all this footage together. So I've got a little setup going here. Brought my big tripod, put the camera on, and I can just leave it and it'll be totally still, and I can operate it with my iPhone 8 backup. So what I do is I'll show you the picture. I put it onto this selfie stick, and then I can see what's going on the camera, keeps my back from being sore, and yeah, so I can sit if I'm getting knackered by standing up. And it's left the nest. There you go. You take your eye off the camera for a second and something happens. Yeah, I've been watching, nothing much has been going on. The parent has been in the nest on top of a couple of the chicks. They all look like they're tired. The parent has been sort of like one eye closed, 2 eye closed, and then the chick came up and you can see it sort of with its beak open, falling asleep, waking back up again. Right, so it's gone for a fly and I don't know where it's gone. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I've got my little step ladder to sit on. And yeah, I've got a good little setup now, and it's quite hot today. 30, they say it's 30 degrees, but it's pretty cool in here. So I think, yeah, we're gonna wrap up here because, you know, I can't stay here all day every day. I'm going to do it in sections, and as I don't like to sort of, you know, waste my time, you know, lose any. I like to use my time efficiently. Put it more accurately. I bring my Rubik's Cube to practice. I don't know if you followed me, but I've got a personal record of 8.99 seconds. My average, once I get warmed up, is about 20 seconds. Been doing this since I was 46 years ago. I told my wife to get one. Asked my wife to get one, and I've been working on it ever since. And it's a good little, you know, sort of, it gives you something to do and just keeps you off your phone scrolling. So anyway, that was a good little session today. No, yeah, all quiet on the Western Front. And probably be back tomorrow if we're not going somewhere else. So, well, I just got my first feed, and one of my questions before was, where are the hobbies finding rodents, voles, mice, etc.? I've just had my answer. It looks like they're going after other birds' chicks. So yeah, it was a brief moment in the video where you can see a very fluffy creature looking like one of their chicks, the same sort of down white feather. And unfortunately, the two sticks in the video, so I'm just keeping an eye on my cameras here on the left, and if anything else happens. There's two branches coming up in front of me, and it was feeding from behind one of them. So I got kind of like the two chicks' heads bobbing up and down a bit, and the parent picking off chunks of the flesh to feed them. It went in and ate something. I don't know if it was one of their chicks, you know what, or if it was a bit of scrap food they took out and then it flew off. But the meal was over in a couple of minutes, so it was obviously a small one. But yeah, so there's the answer. It's going after other birds' nests. Where it's finding these? Is it other raptor nests? Don't know. I'll have to have a read up on that and learn some hobby stats. But anyway, that's a good little bit of extra footage there. I only popped here for about 45 minutes, an hour before I head off to Cross Ness. Oops, I think I've got a head poking up. I'll just record that. Whenever I see the head of the chick popping up, I'll record it for a minute and see if it does, because a couple of times it's kind of made its way up to the edge of the nest. I assume it's not going to fall out, but I just want to see if it gives a really good, if it comes up to the edge of the nest, I'm going to get some great footage of it. It's gone back down, it's up again. A little bit of a, I'll keep that recording for a second. What was I saying? Sorry, I'm getting thrown off here. Yeah, I'm not going to come back here every day because it could get a little bit boring, and it takes up a big chunk of my day waiting for something to happen. So anyway, oh yeah, a little flash of wing. Anyway, that's a good little addition to the footage today. I finally got a feed. So this is the angle I've got my big tripod on, and there's only a couple of tiny holes in the leaves and the branches for me to get through. You'll see around the edges of some of the videos there's kind of leaves blowing in, which I couldn't get over. So it's a very narrow route through to view them, and that's good because it means I won't really disturb them. Yeah, I had to automatic focus, autofocus is out of the question. So I had to first get it in autofocus to make sure it was in the general area, switch to manual, get right in there because you can zoom in like to 100 times and get up close, but then the camera's really shaking. So it's a bit of trial and error to sort of, so you don't want to focus right at the front of the nest, because then only the front of the nest is a very shallow depth of field, even with this compressed depth of field you get with a telephoto lens. So I had to sort of find a branch that was to the left of the lens, about the left of the nest halfway, and sort of set it for there, which will give you a couple of centimeters either side, and that's probably the most accurate I'll get to get everything into focus. And it won't be 100% because the eyes and the head will be moving all over the place, but it's all you're going to get. And the reason I've set it up to look on my phone is because if I touch the camera shakes for 5 to 10 seconds before it settles. So going through my second phone, I can hit record on there and the camera can stay perfectly stationary. Ah, you see? You see? So we give it another 10 minutes. We have to sort of set timers because the first time I came here, I was here for about 3 hours. I was like, if I go now, it's going to show up 2 minutes later. So I've got to set time and say, right, it's 2 o'clock. I'm going to leave at 10 past 2. Because otherwise, yeah, you get caught in a trap of just staying and staying. So July 23rd, I haven't been here for 3 days because Sunday I went to Elmley, big day there. Yesterday, I sort of, after doing a big birding day, I take the day off, do the video, do some shopping, some cooking, because everything gets sort of left behind when I'm out doing a big birding day. So the hobby chicks have definitely grown in size. They're much bigger, much thicker. They're moving around the nest. At a couple of points I already panicked that they were going to get to the edge and fall out. And I thought I'd have to run down there, grab them, call up a rescue centre, say, could you help? So yeah, and then you hear things like green woodpeckers and other things, and you think, is anything going to land and take these chicks? You know, does anything? Imagine if I caught a buzzard coming in to get them. So the parent hobby, going and getting chicks from other nests, and then it has it done back. But yeah, a lot more visuals today. Chicks coming off to the left, off to the top, a head sticking right up. You can see it with its beak open. Lots of preening going on, and then I don't know if it was all preening or there was scraps of food in the nest, because it seemed to be picking stuff up, putting its head down and chewing. But that could have just been preening. There were bits where it stuck its wings out, had a good stretch, almost spreading them over the whole nest, and then saw 2 bobbing around, so both chicks are safely growing up at the right sort of pace. I don't know if there's any more than 2 yet, but I think I only saw 2 heads bobbing up and down. And then I got one come to this side of the nest and poop over the sides. So it's good this instinct, because you always wonder, how do they learn to build nests? It's obviously these things in birds are ingrained in their DNA, how to build a nest, where to migrate to, how to feed. Some birds, need to be taught how to feed, but others it's just ingrained. It's incredible. But I think there's probably minimal processing for that sort of thing, because I think that's how things like cuckoos work. And what's the one I was in Aruba? I think it happens with cowbirds. Cowbirds in Aruba were the same as cuckoos here. I think they passed their chicks off. I think I saw a cowbird with a mockingbird. The mockingbird was bringing it up, because I thought, why are they 2 together? And the cowbird was calling as if it was a juvenile. So just keeping an eye on the... Yeah, I have to keep an eye on the exposure here, because the cloud keeps going, and these chicks are very white, and the front of the nest is very dark, and I don't want the birds, just the little chicks, just to come out as a big white blown out highlight. So I'm having to manually find the right balance between the 2. So yeah, I'm going to have to... I haven't recorded for a while. I haven't been seen for about 5 minutes now. But I'm going to have to take all this footage, because what I did is I pressed record. I left it recording for a while at 60 frames a second, which is going to chew through data like crazy, and just edit all the clips together into something usable to use in the film, because no one's going to want to sit and watch, all the same stuff over and over. There's only going to be so much of the head bobbing up unless it's doing something unusual. So I'm going to give it, where is it, 4 o'clock. So we're going to do our 10 past 4 thing. 10 past 4 is the cut off. I've had no feedings today. No feedings by 10 past 4. I'm out of here. So no adults today. I have heard them 2 or 3 times, but it's only the chicks they've been showing. There's a lot of showing, preening loads, and I'm almost absolutely certain there are 3 chicks now. I thought there were 2. So there were 2 kind of preening. One was getting on top of the other, moving around, and I saw 2 heads, and then I saw a wing spread out from the other side of the nest, and one of the chicks on the one that was on the other one started preening the feathers of these wingtips. So I'm going to have to go through and examine the video 100% to see 3 eyes, but I'll put £100 on it that there are 3. One's still preening now. I actually took some photos this time. I've been concentrating mostly on footage, just in case something happens. But oh shit! There we. I've got it. Parent just brought something back. I just saw it. It didn't call. But we're recording 2 chicks. Is it 3? I've got right underneath the back of the... Yeah, there's 3. Yeah. The first time I got it videoed, the parent was on the left side. So this is a different view. Fantastic. I'll have to see. I had to press the camera manually with my finger because I'd forgotten my second phone. So the start of the video is a bit jumpy. And I'm also freezing. I didn't realize it's July and it feels like about 17 degrees. And this is still great footage. But I luckily, as I was talking, I saw the shape of the bird fly through the trees. And brilliant footage. I mean, it's still obscured because I'm just seeing the back of the bird. But yeah, there his face. Yeah, I am definitely recording. Check that. A couple of times I've lost some footage. And it's a big surprise if a 4th comes up. See, I can't tell because it's a big mess of chicks leaning in, but I wonder if the parent knows to give them all amounts equal. Excellent. I don't want to touch the camera again, but it is slightly underexposed, which I can clean up in software afterwards. Yeah. The question, if it was 3, has been answered, so I don't lose my 100 quid. Yeah, this seems to be a bigger meal. It's going on for quite a while. I do hope when I look back on the computer afterwards, I can see what it was. But I think off memory serves, it was some kind of chick. It didn't look like it was a rodent. And if it was, I'll cleverly edit that bit out. Flies. This is great, this is perfect. Hobby's starting to turn to the right. So I'm getting full on view of the hobby and the 3 chicks. I'm going to take some photos now. It's definitely a bigger meal than the very first bit of footage I got. It's still going. This is awesome. This is awesome. I was literally about to leave. I was going to do my little bit of video recording and then whoosh, just a touch. Oh, what's it doing? Is it getting in the nest? One of the chicks is like, what the earth are you doing? Oh, it's picking up some scraps maybe. Oh, nice. Yeah, gone. Flown up there. Let's get some pics of those chicks. Come on, stick your head out a bit further, guys. Yeah, a bit further. Just hoping one of these comes out, right? Black cap has given it some. Anyway, what a blinder. So no adult action today. Been here about an hour and a half. There's been some movement. The chicks are definitely getting bigger. Ooh. There's a bit of scratching, bit of wings going up, going poop over the side. And it's there right now. I keep saying he, it could be a she. At the edge of the nest on the left. Gave me a heart attack. This chick went out twice, right to the edge. I thought, if that's a gust of wind, because I saw the tree sort of like this, I thought, I really hope he's got his claws into those twigs. And I had a couple of little heart flutters for a second there. Whew. And so he's still there kipping. I've got it on record at the moment. I thought I heard the parent, so I thought he might just show up. So I'll stop recording now. I don't think I'll erase that. What I've been doing to try and save all the editing back at home, instead of recording lots of clips, getting home and viewing them, if I don't think much has happened, I'll just erase it on the camera now, because otherwise my memory is going to fill up so quickly with all this footage, and nobody wants to sit and watch all of it. I'll get the best bits and put them together. So I'm hungry now. It's time to go home. I've done my bit for today. A couple of little usable bits. I just want to do an update. It's been 2 days since I was last here. I'll try and leave it every 2 and 3 days. So yeah, that's it. No more movement. Time to go home. Oh, just watching 2 of the juveniles. I couldn't believe how much they'd grown in. I hadn't been here since, it's Friday today. I hadn't been since Monday because I went to Elmley yesterday. So I tried to come every, worst case 3 days, try to be every 2 days. So this has been 4 days. Oh yeah, a lot of fluttering around. Wow, yeah. What I've had to do now is zoom the camera. I was all the way out at 800 millimeters when I first started doing this. And what I'm finding now, I'm having to come back to 650 to make sure a wing or a bit of tail doesn't go out of the frame. Can't believe it. They look like they've lost like sort of 60-70% of the down. It's just mind-blowing how fast they're growing. They've obviously been fed very, very well. Yeah, sort of, I've had to adjust for all the changing light conditions constantly, sunny, constantly cloudy. Sorry, that doesn't make any sense, constantly. It can't be constantly, because then it would be constant. The constantly changing conditions of cloudy, sunny, and adjusting. And I've got to start remembering to, what have you got there? Looks, is that a bug? Huh. I won't be able to, I'll have to have a look at that on the computer. One of the chicks just came to the left side of the nest with something furry and small, about that big, in its mouth, and flapping. Yeah. So I'm talking in real time now, but there's lots to catch up on. So, you know, I tried to film when there were 3 of them, and I've been trying to, while I've been doing that filming, right, I've got enough film, I've got enough footage, I've got enough video, I've got enough footage, 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 I' take some pictures, because obviously I want to show the progression in pictures as well as video. And ideally, obviously, I want all three in the picture. But occasionally when it's just a really good one of one of them, and it's always yawning or doing something, I'll get it on its own. So trying to get all three of them, especially at the same depth, is very rare. But you know, it's good. It'll look good. It'll look good. So we had one parent show up, and I missed it. I missed the record button of it landing, so I couldn't see if it landed with something. I don't think it brought anything. I thought maybe it just showed up to have a look, because I didn't see it sort of tearing at anything and feeding the chicks, and the chicks weren't sort of like rustling. The chicks weren't rustling around trying to look for something that the bird had dropped. So it looked like it just maybe, yeah, like I said, shown up to have a check on things. And for a moment I kept watching it. It looked like one of the chicks grabbed on something and kind of was pulling. And I think maybe it was another chick's wing or something. So I don't think they brought any food back, because after that there was hardly anything going on in terms of feeding. Another bit of activity, very brief, which was a slight panic. Say panic, when I first got here, there's always that little panic that you look up and nothing's going on. Somebody's stolen them, that they've fallen out the nest. Who knows? There's always that little, I'm going to put everything together and go, oh no. You know, there were a couple of moments when there was a little jolt to the edge of the nest. Are they going to fall off? Then a little bit of activity was, something appeared. I thought maybe a parent, but it wasn't. It was a squirrel. One of the juveniles gave it away by looking, and a squirrel went by. And squirrels aren't going to give them any grief, as it? No, it carried on, and the juveniles watched it as it went up further up the tree. And then there was a bit of, I suppose, visual practice by the chick doing sort of like this, as if someone was, you know, waving a bit of string in front of a kitten, and it was obviously watching a couple of flies zoom around. It was so acuity. Where am I? 4 minutes. I'm giving myself some work to do. I've got to edit all this. And this. Let's press. Yeah, let's just stop recording there for a second. I probably didn't even know I was recording there. I'm just trying to keep up in real time of what's going on. So yeah, I'm trying to run out the crop. I think I've got 2 hours. I was here. I think all my visits have been sort of early to mid-afternoon. I think I've got to try a morning one. Maybe there's more feeding going on in the morning, because for 3 of them to get that big, they've got to be being fed several times a day. And for me to only have really caught 2, it's not great. Definitely love to see some more interaction with the adult. But yeah, maybe the heat, the activity in the daytime gives away the location of other prey for them, and that's why they hunt. And then they just spend the rest of the day soaking up the sun. So I think I must try to get here now every 2 days, because this is going to end quickly. I think all that down feather will probably be gone in under a week, easily under a week. Sorry, something flew past there. My black-cap friend has disappeared. I haven't heard them for a couple of days since the last visit. Whee! And these hoverflies, hornets, have been bugging the hell out of me. Get. They like to land on the edge of the lens and land on the camera. So I think it's time to go home, be strict. I'll give it 10 more minutes. Got my little flask of tea, I'm sipping. And I've got to remember to make sure my secondary phone is charged up, because I use that to view this, so I don't have to stand here all the time. And I went out with it when I'm about 55% battery, and with the live view screen on, it just went dead after about 40 minutes, which is no good, because then if I press record, it's just going to shake for the first few seconds of the video. Yeah, a lot of wing action. Anything else? A butterfly flew past, yawning, a lot of stretching. Yeah, they're obviously practicing their wings, the wing flaps, wing exercise. Yeah, So I'm just trying to find, they're all three of them making their way close to the front here. So I've been trying to get photos of them. So I think unless something new happens, that's today's catch up. Very exciting. I can't wait to post all this. It's gonna, I don't know, be an hour and a half long. Yeah, and to keep it quiet has been very hard. Because once you post it, one picture, they kind of like, you know, where did you get that? Can you tell us? And then you've got to, you know, you're guilt tripped, and you want people to tell you secrets as well, but you've got to be considerate because, yeah, all the activity, because if you tell someone, then they tell someone because they feel guilty for not giving them the secret, and, you know. Anyway, signing off for today. And a very good afternoon. We're back. We've done about 4 hours today, put the time in. It all comes down to if I've got other things I have to deal with, or I've got the gym, shopping, everything's being taken care of at the moment, so I could come for as long as I wanted. And that depends how hungry I am. And today I'm feeling really good. I'm not hungry, loads of energy, so I've just stuck with it until my batteries run out. And my battery ran out, my camera, my phone, which I use to check the screen on here so I don't have to touch the camera. That ran out about an hour ago. I've watched a stand-up on Netflix. Anyway, let's get to it, the birds. So yeah, I got here and there was minimal activity, but they're so big, it's unbelievable. Only 2 days since I was last here, and they're left with about 5% of the down feathers, and they're scratching, it's all coming off, the nest is covered in down feathers. And I mean, I heard a parent calling a couple of times, and I was looking through, and for about half an hour or so I was only seeing 2, and I was like, oops, I tapped the mic there. I was only seeing 2, and I was like, and I was panicked, and I was like, really, I'd be so gutted. But then I thought to myself, well, look, how many nests has these guys as parents raided and taken their chicks? And if somebody's watching those nests, yeah, a hobby came along and took the chicks. They've all gone from the nest. So yeah, understandable. So watch and then eventually a little bobble head popped up from the middle with 2 chicks on either side. So definitely 3. Whew. So for my chicks, okay. So currently I'm just in picture mode, ready to fire a couple of snaps because I've taken loads of video as per usual. And I want a few photos to show the progression in both photos and videos. So I'm making sure first that I get loads of video. And it's just preening, wing stretches. Yeah, I assume being in that nest all this time, there's going to be lots of ticks, lots of bugs. They're going to be crawling in stuff that they have to obviously keep clean, you know, their feathers all oiled and get rid of the down feather that's in there and all the things that are crawling around. And yeah, and there's a couple of times when they go to the edge of the nest, and it's like, but then they're going to have talons, really strong talons that stop them from doing that. Good for practicing their grip strength. You know, yeah, I mean, like I said, when I only saw the 2, I thought, you know, should I run down there and check on the path if, oh, hang on. No, we're okay. Yeah, anyway, so I had to say, yeah, I've been here for 4 hours and not a single time the parent comes along. So it's like, when are they getting fed? I would have thought they would have been needing fed every like sort of hour and a half. But they're going a long time. I mean, do they get a couple of feeds in the morning and then a couple of feeds in the evening? I don't get it. I've heard the parent calling a couple of times. Anyway, yeah, so I thought, could the 3rd chick have fallen out? A fox maybe had got it. Should I run down and check? And if it is down there and a bit beaten up or injured, have to contact a raptor centre. But thankfully, no, they're in the nest. And I've had to actually start zooming out now because they're so big, they're having to spend a lot of time on the edge of the nest. So I can't zoom. And also, if I do zoom all the way in the parent lands, it'll be 4 huge birds on the nest. Now I won't fit them in and I'll miss some of the action. So, but I've had a lot of problems with that branch with the leaves coming in, and it hasn't completely obscured, but not as it's much more than it has when I first got here. but it's enough that I have to sort of really select my, especially photos. I was trying to time it like 3 heads, you know, I want all 3 heads with all 3 eyes visible at once. So trying to time that has been pretty difficult. But yeah, it's a very narrow gap through the trees, and I've gone left, I've gone right, up, down, and there's no way, there's just one kind of, if I go a little bit this way, there's going to be some interference from the top. So I've had to kind of just stick with this one. But no, this is as good as it gets, you know, there's no other way through. I couldn't have done better than this. So I've been very lucky. I'm looking at it now, I'm thinking, to the trees all to my left and all to my right, I could have been really unfortunate and had no view whatsoever. Just been a little thing that big, and that wouldn't have been enough. I'd have found a way to get a couple of photos, but just be thankful I've got what I've got. So we want to get out of here before the supermarkets close. It is Sunday, and I need to buy some fruit. So yeah, we're about to run out of power. We got the flashing. I've ordered another battery because this is getting ridiculous now. Especially with filming like this, where I'm filming so much, it's just burning through batteries. One on the right, facing away from me, hit obscured by the leaves, and I think this one on the left's checking out the plane going over. And yeah, there was a lot of flapping around at one point, and give me some great footage. Yeah, you thought you were, and it's always funny when like one's flapping and the other ones are like just not moving, and they're getting smacked in the face with a wing or a tail. But I think I better come here every single day, even if it's just for half an hour, because it feels like they're going to be I thought maybe the end of this week, Friday, or the next week. It could be in a couple of days, 2-3 days. It could be like just so fast. I better give them a little bit of time. Start seeing where they've got no more down feathers and they're just looking like sleek young adults. So I think, yeah, I don't hear any parents. We must just go, because otherwise, oh, they might do something now, they might do something. I've got to just pack away and go. Okay, one last look. So I'm trying to get here every day now, because they're very close to fledging. The down feathers are pretty much gone. There's a couple of scrappy bits left on the back, probably where they can't reach. And they're all resting at the moment. I only want to come for half an hour, just in case something important happens and I miss it. So I don't think anything's going to happen in the next 2-3 days in terms of leaving. I've had to change my position with the camera here. Basically, that branch that was giving me some grief has pretty much covered any bird that's in the middle or to the right. So I've kind of find this new angle lower down, which I've got a little bit of a blurry green at the bottom. So I think I'm going to be forced to bring a cutter and just reach across and just carefully cut away a couple of the problem leaves that are getting in my way. They're not going to cause any disturbance. I'm still miles away. I'm zoomed in at 1280 millimeters. So, but just to give me a view, I can't get rid of that branch which is right near the nest because it's miles away, but I can do it from this end, which will give me a slightly clearer view. Otherwise I'm waiting for wind gusts to sort of capture anything I can with all 3 chicks in the nest. But no change there. I think I heard one of the parents calling, not the usual call, it's like a single chirp instead of the usual erratic thing they do. The chirp, what's the multi-vocal call they call. Anyway, so yeah, don't think anything else is happening. Yeah, so I don't think anything else is happening today. They all look quite rested. Better set that recording. Sounds like there's a parent nearby. Is it coming into the nest? Just checking my levels because it's a bit bright. He's there somewhere, she's there somewhere. Actually, I think I read that after nesting, the female does all of the feeding, if I'm not mistaken. The male does it when the female is looking after the eggs. Oh, yeah. Ooh, bit of action. Anything coming to the nest? You know what? I don't even know if that's a hobby. It looks bigger. I saw it over there on the tree briefly. It looked thicker, like a kestrel. I'm gonna have to check that. I'm not an expert on these raptor songs, raptor calls. Yeah, just landed literally, but I can't see it through the trees. What I wanted to quickly add was I've had a good chance to look at the footage on the computer. Now, where one of the adult showed up a couple of days ago, and I didn't see it drop any food, or I didn't film it drop any food. I wasn't quick enough, and I thought I saw a chick, juvenile, pecking away at something looked like some entrails. What I think has happened is they're being overfed, and my reasoning is they've grown so fast that they're bringing back so much food that they're just dropping it there, and the chicks are so full they're kind of like, I can't see it, but there's obviously some food in the nest, which they kind of, I saw a couple of times they kind of picked at something and then ignored it, probably thinking I'm stuffed. So that's why they've grown so quickly. They're just well fed. The parents have done a great job bringing back food. What are you doing? I'm just going to hit record here for a second. There's one on the right which is obscured by leaves. He's making his way across. No, yeah, the leaves on my side. I'm going to have to cut them tomorrow if I come tomorrow. I want to go to all marshes for the day, but I don't want to miss a day here. So I suppose if I just do like half an hour here, make sure nothing important's happening, then I can go off and do a vlog of all marshes. Here's some stuff happening at all marshes. Curlew, sandpipers, little stints. Then that's the green woodpecker, isn't it? Little stints and spoonbills and things. Some golden plover, yes please. Finally get some pictures of the Bonaparte's gull, which I haven't seen. Gull. Yeah, okay, we'll stop the recording then. Yeah, so like I said, well fed, plenty of food. That's why they've grown so big, because I've looked at there's a schedule you can look at online of when they lay eggs, when the eggs hatch, how fast they grow, and there's a kind of time scale. And this looks like it's at the earliest point in the time scale, like it's really, really fast, much faster than usual. Especially with all three chicks successfully growing up. Anyway, I think that's it for today. I've booked Toby Calvary. I need to hit the gym quickly and get that done and out of the way. Okay. Absolutely typical. I literally just finished packing up my tripod and all my stuff. And as I want to do, I always glance back and have a look, and I thought, that nest looks a bit different from the distance than I'm used to. It looked a bit full. And I thought, has one of the chicks kind of got to the edge and is standing up at the front? And so I checked through, and I did hear the call of the parents just seconds before, but I thought they might have just been flying around. But it was a parent, it was on, it was feeding, and all 3 chicks were there. So the only way I could do it was I had to handhold filming and hope that my manual focusing was good enough. So I got what I could. It's some usable stuff there. I might have to use a bit of image stabilizer correction in software afterwards. But just kept filming. Then it was going on for long enough that I could switch to photos. I tried getting some photos, and I got some photos of the parent. Once it had jumped off and landed, it was cleaning its beak, but it was obscured by, I was fighting through these tiny little holes in the trees. And then it jumped off onto another branch about 10 feet away. And I just couldn't get a full view of the bird. I was kind of just getting the upper torso and the head, but you could still see the sort of haze of the leaves around it. And some usable. I've zoomed in, they're sharp enough, but it was nice to see the parent for a change. But it goes to show, I think the last 4 times I've been here, I've never got that kind of feed. And then with the parent then hanging about for a couple of photographs, just keeping an eye out. So what I was saying earlier about them dropping food off, it seems to be that the chicks are still very hungry because they are all up at the front once the parent comes back with some food. Or maybe there's days when there's just too much food, and other days there's not as much food. Yeah, it will be all great to look at and come to some sort of conclusion at the end of it all. So we got to go. This time we got to go. So it's been an exceptionally good visit so far. I missed yesterday. I wanted to try and get here every day. Now they've got to this size, but I went to All Marshes coming back. I was super tired. I don't know why. Set the alarm for an hour and I woke up 2 hours later, so I missed it. And yeah, I was panicking the whole time thinking, I hope nothing big's happened in the time I've been gone. But it's been about 36 hours since I was last here, and nothing's really changed. But they've got no more down feathers. There's a lot more flapping going on. Preening, movement about in the nest. I'm having to zoom out to make sure I get the wings in, and switching between video and photos because I want to get those nice portraits of the 3 of them together. So we had a feed, which was great, and missed let me just check this. Okay, let me see if I can get a peek. Yeah, they're all almost lined up. He's calling. I'm just waiting for, one's got his head hidden behind a branch. Yeah, they very rarely get all 3 heads. I've had a few. Oh, here we go. Right. Come on. If I get this, I'll line it up with the video. No. Come on. No, I'll keep talking anyway. Are you going to do it for me? No, anyway, I'll talk through this. I've got to keep watching them. So I've got to put some WD-40 on this ladder. So, yeah, I heard the calling, and then all the juveniles started making their way to this side of the nest. So I thought the parent, and I did see some sort of a shadow. You see that? It cuts through the trees when it goes under the sun. And I've got footage of the chicks, juveniles, making the call as well. So it's hard to distinguish if the adult's about or if it's the chicks. Right. Almost. Anyway, I'll keep talking and looking. God, I've got a sore neck. Anyway, yeah, so I saw something land up there and I thought it was a wood pigeon. And I was looking at it, I thought it's a bit thin to be a wood pigeon. And I saw it was a adult. So it was sitting there for a minute and I thought maybe it's not got any food. Green jay? I think it's the jay, isn't it? I'm keeping mixing them up with the green woodpecker. I think it's the jay one. The screamer, it's the forest screamer, isn't it? Sorry, back to the story. So, yeah, parent was up there and I thought, right, it's maybe just hanging around. I couldn't see any food. Took the camera off. I thought, okay, let's get this sitting there for a while. Let's get the camera off. I risked it. Switched it to photo and got some photo. But I saw it had something in its mouth. And from what I can tell, it looks like a juvenile chick of some other bird. So they are really raiding nests. Like, yeah, how many chicks didn't make it? How many birds didn't make it to feed these guys? And my guys didn't get taken. I've almost got 3 heads in. Come on. One's preening and one's sort of the branch is still going over. I managed to yesterday cut a few little twigs off from my side, but I can't do anything about where they are. The twigs are just obviously out of reach. But here I was able to get our telescopic cutter and remove a couple of the mini ones which were causing some blur. But still, it's still a tiny gap I'm looking through. So yeah, I took some pictures of this. It obviously sort of dealt with the bird before it got here because there was some wings removed and feathers. Wings removed, it's only got 2 wings. There was some feathers removed, a bit of blood, bit of flesh, and then it flew over and called and I had to quickly put the camera back on, get all the settings, manually set it. So luckily I'm sort of muscle memory's there. And I set it up to record and got the feed and I waited. I thought, okay, how long do I do this for? It's a pretty big meal. So I maybe filmed for about a minute or so and flicked to photos because I want to show a showcase of video and photos, the progression. So I did manage to get sort of two of the juveniles in with the parent. The parent every so often in between feeds was look left just to check things out and snap. I'd get the photo. And so I'm quite happy with that. I think we'll maybe give it about half an hour because I want to edit another video and then I might come back later on tonight. But I think I've done well for today. I don't want to sit here all day because I mean I've got other things to be doing and I've got enough footage and photos for today. I'm quite happy with that feed. Just at one point when they were calling, I think they mistook a magpie for one of the adults because the magpie came to the nest. I thought the magpie is not going to give them any grief, is it? I mean, maybe when they were smaller, the magpie might have tried its luck and had one because it will take small chicks. I've seen it happen. Oh, well, we've got 3 heads. Never in the same, well, I say never. I've had them, but sort of one maybe is a bit obscured. The beak is a bit obscured. Right, yep. Nope. So yeah, I'll give it half an hour, then I've got to go home and do it. I actually did some editing here, but power runs out on my Windows Surface quite quickly. That's the thing. I think the new ones on the Windows Surface, you can charge them with an external battery pack, USB charge, whereas this one you have to plug into the wall. I think it's a 6, I think from sort of 7 or 8 onwards. So got to treat myself to one of those soon. That'll be my first treat over a new camera or a lens. Oh, no. Yes, go on 3. I've got 3 faces, a little bit of a branch flicking in front of the camera, the wind. I've had to fight my shots in between wind movements. Yeah, this one, there's one flapping and flapping and flapping. I mean, what do we think? 3 days and they'll be out. I'm coming every day. That's it. The schedule is off for the next week. I'm only coming here. No cross nest, no. Well, I'd like to go to the late Elmley on Sunday. Fingers crossed they're out before then. If they come out, I don't want to miss any opportunities. They could be sort of floating around on trees and stuff here. And because they're not fully experienced with humans, they might have seen a few about through the gaps or whatever, or heard them in gardens. They might sort of see me and like just be chill. So I get some great photos and footage of them after they're fledged. Anyway, if nothing else happens, great roundup. Hope you enjoy the footage. I think I've covered everything. Speak to you again tomorrow, unless I see something else. Just to add, on the 5th, this is catch up. Sorry, I came back twice on the 5th. My wife brought my wife along for the first time to look, and she got binoculars out. I didn't realise how rubbish the binoculars were when I looked through. You couldn't see anything. So I set it up so she could look through. And it's good for the first time she was able to take part in this. So she's the only other person that's seen this. And again, anybody watching this, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you know? It's like, well, if I tell anybody, you tell somebody. And I want to be here. I've been here sometimes 3, 4, 5 hours watching. It's a tiny gap. There's no room for anyone else. I don't want to be fighting with anybody else. If you tell somebody, then they have to sort of not tell their friends, you know, so it's my little thing. And just going to have to, you know, you're going to have to accept that. Good afternoon again. So I think I got here around 11 a.m. and I assumed I was just going to stay an hour or two. And I've ended up staying about 3.5. Wasn't much reason being, I thought there isn't going to be much change, and there wasn't. When I saw the juveniles, they didn't look like they had changed much. They don't have any down on them. They didn't have any down on them yesterday. I only saw one. Again, there's always a little panic. Something happened overnight, especially the wind. The wind has been blowing the tree backwards and forwards. And I've tried to sort of record in between big gusts. But yeah, eventually I started seeing the heads bobbing around, and then all three were out. And it was getting I will say, getting a little bit boring because I am here every day. I started getting distracted by the calls of sparrowhawks. Now, I'd heard them. I didn't know what they were for the last week or so. Oh. That's mummy or daddy hobby. I'm getting ready to record if it jumps onto the nest. It's not been to feed for the whole time I've been here. So yeah, I kept getting distracted by these sparrowhawks when I sort of went over to check what was going on. Because yesterday when I was leaving, I saw a sparrowhawk circling. I'd seen a couple of raptors and I'd wonder what they were. I thought they were kestrels because they were thicker bodied than the hobbies. So it turns out they're sparrowhawks. I'm assuming they're possibly juveniles that have fledged and are sort of learning their environment. When I went over to my vehicle, my cab, I saw a sparrowhawk go down behind a tree, and as I hung around I saw a hobby as well, and I could see the distinct difference in size. And eventually the sparrowhawk came back out and headed off hunting somewhere. And then today I've seen a couple of times the sparrowhawk coming out chasing a magpie. Wasn't quick enough to get a photo of it. I tried to, but I was like, what do? Do I run back and I should be keeping an eye on the hobbies. So I'm being distracted, but it's good to know that there's a possibility of sparrowhawks here as well. And I'm sure they have landed in the trees above my head and I've just missed them. So it's very exciting. They've obviously found great food sources around here. Anyway, so it's quite chilly today, even though it's 21. I've got to remember, just always bring a jumper. At the very least, just put it in my bag, because I've been pretty cold and it almost caused me to give up. And luckily I didn't, because there was lots of sort of flapping and stretching, and then suddenly hobbies all started leaving the nest. One jumped out on a branch, another one looked at it, it's flapping their wings, moving out, and then eventually they all got up onto higher and higher branches, all checking each other out. You could see them playing with the wind, with their wings. And two were sort of lower down. One worked its way right up out of sight. I had to keep zooming the camera out to sort of fit it all in. And I just kept hitting record and deleting until I got a piece of footage of the bird that was hidden away for ages up the top having a preen while the two were down looking at it. Eventually came back down. And you can see how comfortable they are jumping big distances between branches, and just really comfortable. They know their stuff already. They're super comfortable with how their environment works, how their bodies work, how their wings work. So I think I think that's good for today. I'm probably gonna have to start packing food and coming here for long periods, because I'm not gonna want to miss that big moment where maybe they start flying off to different trees and I have to be ready with my camera to run and catch them wherever they land. But it's very windy at the moment. As you can see, well, you're going to see in the video, but oh, did I press a button? Yeah. But yeah, sort of wind is blowing everything around. So luckily my camera seems to be quite well stabilized. It's only a tiny bit of wind can make the image stabilizer fight it and cause a lot of jerky motion. Just constantly adjusting for when a cloud goes over. I think, yeah, that's it. I think we've calmed down for the day. They've had a good stretch. I can't be here all day. I've got to go to the gym. I've got to eat, got to go to work. But that was a phenomenal different bit of footage for today. I can't ask for much better than that. That's a big leap, pardon the pun. Whoa. Wind. Holy cow. Yeah. Anyway, no feed today. There you go. So. So we just packed up to go, and I heard some calling from the Hobby and the Sparrowhawks, and it was very brief, I didn't catch it. Hobby and a Sparrowhawk momentarily just had a little bit of a scuffle in midair. They didn't come like within a couple of inches of each other, they were still a couple of feet apart, but they sort of was getting in a bit, they were getting in each other's way a bit. And then the Sparrowhawks were kept calling from the distance, and as I heard them get louder, they came closer, and I managed to prepare my camera, and I got some pretty decent photos I'm super happy with. I haven't got any video, but the adult hobbies, there were two of them hovering around in the sky, were hovering so well that, okay, I flicked a video, and I tried to hold it as still as I could, and did pretty well despite the whiteout sky. I was manually exposing in real time and zooming the camera out to try and fit as much of it in as possible. The further I go in and you move, the image stabilizer fights you a bit, but awesome to capture. I did get it. It's pretty usable for what it is. But the Sparrowhawk pictures, I've had a look through some of them, particularly the ones sort of coming more towards me, were mwah. I'd love to get some video of them. I literally getting to the point now where I don't want to go home. Just in case something else happens. But the calling has stopped now, and I just went back to check on the Hobby juveniles, and they're all tuckered out from all of their action today, so okay, I don't have to worry about them. I think everything's calmed down now. I've done exceptionally well today, even though it looked like nothing much was going to happen, and I've come away with extra goodies and loads of extra great footage of them going out of the nest and coming back. Happy bunnies, happy, yes. Love those Sparrowhawk pictures. Good afternoon again. So had a brief couple of hours today because my sister and niece and nephew are coming over for lunch. So I quickly got up and did some shopping, got that out of the way and got over to the wood. After yesterday when they started getting out of the tree, I thought, right, it's any day now. So I got here, checked the nest and nothing. Oh, my heart is broken. After kind of wanting this to sort of wrap up so I can finish off the video, it's gutting. It was gutting to see it, like, you know, like, oh, you don't expect that to happen. But so I went off. You might be able to hear the Sparrowhawks are calling, and they keep kind of distracting me to go off searching for them. So I was there for a little while. I thought, better, what I should do is not give up completely, because I checked the trees, I listened out. There was one brief pass by two. I couldn't tell if they were adults or juveniles, and they just zoomed right across from south to north. Then I went back and checked the nest. Lo and behold, I saw a little head bobbing around in the wind, sleepy head. So that made me very happy to see that it's still there. So I've still got at least a couple of days, and that plane's been doing circuits for ages. Noisy, but I thought it might be Spitfire. Anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna quit now, and I'll probably more than likely come back when lunch is over in the later afternoon and try my luck again. So I've just seen a Sparrowhawk and I'm talking into the camera. So anyway, anything to report later on, I'll be back. Can I please be the first to request we have a cull of parakeets? What a pest, seriously. Sorry, I don't know if that offends anyone, but this is nuts. This is crazy. I was speaking to someone recently who said 4 great spotted woodpecker nests have been taken over. They are obliterating all the other species. Seriously, come on, something's got to be done. It's ridiculous. So I'm just, I thought the action was over today, but it's far from over. I'm just locked in at the nest. Anyway, right, so we came back again, and we came straight to the nest spot, and the same juvenile was still on the left side. He was in the middle, worked his way up to the front, and then sat on the left all by itself for ages. And I thought, okay, probably nothing else is going to go on tonight. Then I heard some calling, and I went out, and at least 2 others were calling, and it was on its own. So I assume its siblings are off flying. So either it's the younger and it hasn't had enough food yet, and the older ones are off, or it's being the smart one and saying, well, you go and look for any threats while I chill here. So keeping an eye on it, because there's been a lot of action. Okay, nothing. Catch up. Right, so while filming the hobbies flying around, it's all going to be in sort of 2, 3, 4 second clips and then slowed from 60 to 30 because I don't know, these filming at this zoom length at 800 millimeters, 600, 700 is just the image stabilized. I've said this over and over, it just fights you like crazy. But I've got some footage that I can add together. And then I heard the sparrowhawks, and the hobbies went quiet for a while. And then the sparrowhawks kicked off, and what was happening was 3 or 4 magpies were harassing these 2 sparrowhawks. I don't know what's going on here, though. The magpies are harassing the hobbies here. There's been a lot of hobby activity in the last sort of 45 minutes. I will get back, I will catch up in a second. So I actually got some footage of sparrowhawks. The first bit of footage I got was, there was one that landed on a branch, and I was just about to take a photo from the distance. I think, wait a minute, I should be filming now. So I got about 3 seconds, and the sparrowhawk looked like it was fighting back. It sort of went for one of the magpies, and the magpie flew off. And later on, a crow joined. I took some photos, but it's that point in the evening where it's the contrast of light and dark is too much. And you know, if the sparrowhawk turns, its eye is in the darkness, and every part of it's exposed, and the other bits are all dark. So it's not the great time for filming or for photos, even though the golden hour usually should be. But anyway, I got several bits of footage when they kind of hovered. So I'm quite happy that's the first ever sparrowhawk footage I've got. And then once that died down a bit, I heard quite a loud calling from the hobby, and I ran back to the nest and looked through, and I left my tripod set up at the right angle. I still need to adjust this slightly when I get here. And so I have to keep checking. Yeah, and there was it took a second, but then it looked like a parent was on the nest feeding the chick, the juvenile still in the nest. So yes, and I thought, damn, because they were hidden behind one of those V-shaped branches. And for some reason, you know, did I do a little, you know, rain dance or prayer or something for it to do this? But the adult came out with the chick it had predated to say, look what I've got. Oh, and I was like, as if it was reading my mind. Look what I've got now. Can I get back to feeding? So yes. So where were we? What? So it fed for a little while, and then it was calling, and then I saw shadows, and I assume it was I heard other hobbies disabled. The other juvenile was probably flying around, and eventually Mum flew off, or Dad flew off, whoever it was, with this predated chick. Obviously must be feeding them on other branches. And then something landed to the left of the nest, and it looked quite rough, so it was probably one of the juveniles, and it sat there calling. And I took some video of it handheld because it was in another spot. Then right, I got enough of that, flicked it to photo, took some photos, and while I was filming, a couple of magpies landed in front of it. I went, right, it's going to kick off. Who's going to make a move? And nothing happened. They kind of just stared at each other, and then the magpies went. So no kicking off there. Right, what next? And then when I look back, the parent was back just to the front of the nest, and it had a bloody bit of chick in its claws still, and it was calling. So I got some nice video of it calling, and then looking around, and then it flew off. So yeah, I don't know if it not only feeds juveniles in the nest, but it also goes off, gets the other ones that are floating around and feeds them on a branch somewhere. But there was a lot of harassing by gulls and magpies. Anyway, I think, hello, wake up. Yeah, it's just one juvenile in the nest. He's having a bit of a stretch. We're at 6:40 ISO. It must, what time is it? On my secondary phone, 8:10. I'm being eaten by bugs because I went out, stupidly didn't put my lotion on. So I think it's fair to say that Avon body mist spray that I use does work, because I've been caught a couple of times, which I normally don't get. Sparrowhawk. So they're still about. So I'm going to be busy for the next few days at least. So this video could be another half an hour, 40 minutes long. So I've got to make sure and keep on top of all the editing. So I thought they were going to be, after yesterday and not seeing them this morning, I had this funny feeling it was all over today. So it could be going on for a few more days as things are, I'm definitely getting more Sparrowhawk action. That's just a bonus. I mean, this place is... Anyway, signing off this time. I better get back. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get anything more tonight. No. Yeah, Sparrowhawk. Anyway, night, folks. Thought I'd better do an early video to my day to catch up with all the stuff that's just happened in the first half an hour. So I got here and there was one chick very obviously on the nest. I could see without even looking into my camera. And then within moments, two of the juveniles were there and a parent landed and brought some food. So the chick that was at the left side of the nest watched the parent come in. The other chick just grabbed the food and took it. And this chick just pecked at its parent saying, okay, where's mine? And the parent just went off and got out of the way because it was being quite harsh to the parent. It was really digging into it with his beak. And strangely, this, I assume it's the same juvenile who sits around while the other two are off flying. He just sat off to the left and the other two were going right at it with the prey that had been brought in by the parent. So the parent is now no longer breaking up the prey for them. It's that's obviously the next step in them learning, is you've got to do it yourself. So why are these two who are eating so advanced and off flying? I assume it's the same two, and this one's so chill. The other chick was just working away at the meal that had been brought in, and this chick watched on. Eventually it did start tucking into the food as well. And what I've noticed watching all the footage, there's never been any sibling rivalry. They've never attacked each other. They've always waited their turn, but if someone wasn't quick enough, one of the others would grab it. And if another one came along to try and get some, they'd let it have it. There wasn't any fighting, no pecking. It was just eat, get it in you, get it down your neck. Once that was going on for a while, I filmed it a bit. Oh, what's going on? Better press record. They're all coming to the edge of the nest. Yeah, it's the branches with the leaves at the top of the nest are, and if they're standing tall, standing proud, I can't get them in. Their faces are obscured. So anyway, they're looking healthy enough. So yeah, I hope to just get them when they're out and about now, or they're down and they do that thing where they kind of crawl up to the front. No, nothing worth it. So yeah, the sparrowhawks are still about. So yesterday, saw the footage. So I'll keep trying for that, and then mix it up with the nest activity, the hobbies flying around. And speaking of hobbies flying around, I heard them calling after these guys were eating, so I went out and thought I'd take some footage to try and get some footage of that. And for a moment, I got two hobbies together, and I went, right, have they stopped feeding the juveniles and one gone out? So I went back and checked, and the three were still in the nest. So we've still got, for sure, 2 adults at least up there and 3 juveniles. So there's 5 hobbies. Woohoo! So happy days. Right, they're all chilling and probably are going to have a little sleep after that food. So I'm just having a listen out for the sparrowhawk calls. There it is again. It's very distant, but unless I can hear it coming when it flies, and I get myself ready. I focus on the trees. So if it appears, my camera doesn't have too much hunting to do with the focusing. So yeah, that's a good catch up. I think we've covered everything, but amazing start to the day so far. So I ended up sticking around probably about 3 or 4 hours. I kept saying to myself, and I've done this several times now, you're not going to get another opportunity like this. This is a one-off. I know you're bored, but just stick around. And nothing major, but we had some good moments where one of the juveniles appeared on a tree just in front of me above, and I was able to film and take some pictures of it. So it's exploring its surroundings. It wasn't really bothered by me. And then a couple of the parents were hovering. I think what they're doing is they're calling, they're trying to get them to come out of the nest, because most of today they've been in the net. The 3 juveniles have been just sticking around in the nest. So it went from them all going out of the nest and thinking they'd fledged to all coming back and waiting for feeds. So I think the parents are sort of flying around and getting them, come on, because the parents aren't off looking for food. They were hovering around calling. So I assume it's, like I said, get out here, come on, practice. So I used that opportunity to take some pictures, and no blue skies, so it's all white out. So I did a bit of video, a bit of photos, and I got some photos of it with its mouth open, and held the camera as steady as I could for filming. And then there was a bit of sparrowhawk action. I got one little bit of video earlier on in the distance, and then there was one sort of doing a couple of circuits, which I was relatively close to. So I fired off I stuck with shots. I wanted to get some nice shots. So I got some decently sharp shots with not too white out sky. It is whited out, but not too bad. A blue sky came along and they never showed up, typical. But some nice sparrowhawk photos. So yeah, that's the day. I don't think I'm going to come out again tonight. It is, even though I'm having an amazing time, it is getting a little bit samey. Too much of a good thing and all that. So let's wrap it up. Let's go home and eat. And I think, yeah, come back tomorrow. I think we're done with tonight unless something changes. I'm like, no. I've got to go and see them one last time today. So that's the day over. Okay, ladies and gents, I think that's a wrap. I've been back today for about 2.5 hours and nothing at all has been in the nest. What was it, about 3 days ago I came here and the nest was empty, and eventually it did start filling up with juveniles, but that was after about half an hour. Today, nothing. I have heard lots of calling by one bird. A couple of times I saw it flying, got some pictures to check its identity. There we go. That's in the distance. It isn't in the nest, it's behind the nest flying. A hobby has been flying around, and like I said, I got a picture and checked the face, and it's got the white bits instead of the beige bits. So it's the adult. I don't know what it's doing. Is it saying, you know, come back, or make sure you're away, or, you know, come and do some practice flying? Who knows? I've just been learning as I've been going along, trying to work out what the behavior is of the juveniles and the adults, and what happens after they fledge. Do they come back to be fed a little bit more just in case, just so they build up their fat reserves before they fly off to Africa? Do they hang around in the country for a couple of months? I mean, I had one a couple of years ago in, I think it was like late November, early December, which was really weird, a juvenile down in Dungeness. So hanging about until winter, or was it a late fledge? Anyway, if that's the end of it, if nothing else happens, this will be my final video, and I hope you enjoy. It'd be interesting to hear in the comments if you're in which bits of it you enjoyed. Did I talk too much? Did I put too much footage, too little talking? Did you like the way it was edited? If it happens again, let me know. You know, I had to sort of decide that the video footage was what people wanted to see, and they were happy to just watch quite a lot of footage because it's bird behavior. For everybody else, it's going to be very boring. So I tried to make it not too long and not too short, finding a balance. I need people to comment so I know what to do in future videos. Anyway, it's been fun. It's been slightly emotional when I saw the nest first empty, but what a great time that's going to be. Some epic footage, epic video. It's going to take a long time to render. It's probably 1.5 hours to 2 hours of footage once I clip it all together. Yep, still around here. They're still here, or one's still here. And like I said, we'll be coming back momentarily, once or twice a day for half an hour, just to have a double check, nothing else is going on. So one last look at the nest, and then I'm off ski. Thanks very much, everyone.